A poor humanoid family won $1 million lottery. What happened next will shock you. An old woman stood at the doorway clutching a lottery ticket in her trembling hand. Inside, 4 pairs of eyes waited for her. In 3 days, they would regret ever winning. The room was cold, not because the heater was broken. They'd sold it 3 months ago. The cold came from emptiness. Empty plates on the table. Empty promises of tomorrow. Empty stomachs. Zara sat with her legs tucked under her, staring at the plate in front of her. Her stomach made sounds, but she'd learned to ignore them. 6 years old, and she already knew how to pretend she wasn't hungry. Across from her, Nico watched the street through the window. 8 years old enough to understand what poverty meant, old enough to see the worry lines deepening on their mother's face every day. Lyra stood by the counter holding the last piece of bread. 2 children, 1 grandmother, herself. The math didn't work. The door rattled. Grandmother Ezra stumbled in, breathing hard, clutching a piece of paper. "We won." Silence. "Won what, Grandma?" Zara asked. Ezra held up a lottery ticket, her hand shaking. Lyra moved to the old screen and entered the numbers. One by one, they matched. All 6. $1 million, Lyra whispered. The room stayed silent. Too good. This was too good. Zara looked at her brother. Nico looked at his mother. Lyra looked at Ezra. "Grandma, when did you buy this ticket? We don't have money for—" "I found it," Ezra said quickly. "On the street." Someone dropped it. It was a lie. Lyra could tell. But right now, with her children's hollow cheeks staring at her, she didn't care. "There's more," Ezra said. "The prize includes something else. A tour of the Velcor factory." "Velcor Industries?" Nico's eyes widened. Everyone knew that name. The biggest corporation in the galaxy, the richest man alive. "They do this every year," Ezra continued. "Charity lottery. We have to go tomorrow to claim the prize." "And then we get the money?" Lyra's voice cracked with hope. "They said so. $1 million. Cash." That night, nobody slept. They sat around the table, the lottery ticket in the center like a holy object. Outside their window, the news was already broadcasting their faces. "Local family wins Velcor charity lottery." But inside the small room, Ezra sat in the corner, her face troubled. Something felt wrong. You don't just find a winning lottery ticket on the street. And charity from the richest man in the galaxy? There's no such thing as free bread. There never was. Morning came with a knock that sounded too official. Lyra opened the door to find 2 men in black suits, tall, well-dressed. Their skin was a deep purple, another species of alien like most people in this city. "You're the winners?" "Yes. Come with us. Bring your family." There was no warmth in their voices, no congratulations, just efficiency. They gathered what little they had. Zara wore her only dress, faded and 2 sizes too big. Nico's shirt had a hole in the sleeve, but they were clean. Lyra made sure of that. The vehicle waiting outside made Zara gasp. She'd never seen anything like it. Sleek, silver, hovering slightly above the ground. Through its windows, she could see soft leather seats. "Get in," one of the suited men said. They climbed inside. The seats were softer than their beds. As they drove through the city, Zara pressed her face against the window. Buildings got taller, cleaner. The streets changed from cracked concrete to smooth metal. People here wore clothes without holes. Their skin, green, blue, orange, purple, all glowed with health. The vehicle stopped twice more, each time another family climbed in. Poor families, all aliens like them, all wearing their best clothes, which weren't very good. Nobody spoke. Zara counted them. 7 families total, about 30 people. All looked the same way, hopeful but scared, like they couldn't believe this was real. But then the city ended. They were driving into empty land now, barren hills, no buildings, no people, just endless nothing. Where are we going? One man asked nervously. Velcor Industries is located outside the city, the driver said, for security reasons. How far? 3 hours. 3 hours. They were being taken very far from home. Ezra noticed this. She looked at the landscape passing by. No settlements, no roads branching off, just one road going deeper into nowhere. Her bad feeling got worse. Finally, they saw it. The Velcor factory rose from the barren landscape like a metal mountain, glass and steel twisting upward in impossible spirals. But around it, nothing. Just empty land for miles in every direction. No other buildings, no town, no train station, no way to leave except the road they came on. Beautiful, someone whispered. But Ezra thought, isolated, trapped. The vehicle entered through massive gates, security everywhere, robots, cameras, armed guards in white uniforms. The gates closed behind them with a heavy clang. Inside, the main hall took Zara's breath away. The ceiling was so high she couldn't see the top. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing products being made, medical equipment, ships, weapons, food processors. Welcome. The voice echoed through the hall. Everyone turned. A man walked toward them from the far end. Tall, slim. His skin was pale blue, almost white. He wore a spotless white suit that probably cost more than their house. His smile was perfect, but Zara noticed something. His eyes didn't smile. I'm Velcor, he said, opening his arms wide. Welcome to your new lives. Everyone clapped uncertainly. I know what you're thinking, Velcor continued, walking among them. Why us? Why did he choose us? He stopped in front of a small child, kneeling down, because I believe in giving back. I know what poverty feels like, and today each of you becomes a millionaire. Excited murmurs rippled through the crowd. But first, Velcor stood up, let me show you where your money comes from. Let me show you what we do here. Then you'll understand why Velcor Industries is the most successful company in the galaxy. They were split into groups. Zara, Nico, Lyra, and Ezra stayed together, for now. A robot guide led them through corridors that seemed to glow from within. This is Sector A, the robot's mechanical voice explained. Here, we manufacture medical supplies for outer colonies. Through glass walls, they watched robots assembling complex devices. Everything was clean, efficient, perfect. Sector B, food processing and distribution. More glass walls, more robots. Zara noticed something. No people, only machines working. Where are the workers? Nico asked. The robot paused. Workers operate in other sectors. Specialized areas. They continued. Sector C, Sector D, each one more impressive than the last. Technology Zara couldn't even name. Velcor's voice occasionally came through speakers, explaining how his company helped billions across the galaxy. Bathroom break, the robot announced. Facilities are down that corridor. We resume the tour in 10 minutes. Lyra took Ezra to find the restrooms. Nico started asking the robot questions about the technology. Zara needed to go too. She looked down the corridor the robot had pointed to. It looked the same as all the others. White walls, glowing lights. She started walking. The corridor curved, then split into two directions. Which way? Left looked the same as right. She chose left. More corridors. They all looked identical. Zara's heart started beating faster. Where was she? A door ahead stood slightly open, different from the others. This one was metal, heavy, industrial. Voices came from beyond it. When's the new batch arriving? They're already here. Velcor's giving them the tour now. All of them? 52 people, biggest hall yet. Think they'll accept the offer? Doesn't matter. The ones who refuse, well, you know what happens. Laughter. Dark laughter. Yeah, either way, they don't leave. Footsteps. Zara pressed herself against the wall. Two guards walked past the door, their boots echoing. They didn't look her way. When the sound faded, Zara crept toward the door. She knew she shouldn't, but something pulled her forward. She peeked through the gap. Her breath stopped. A stairway leading down, far down, and at the bottom, lights, harsh, industrial lights, and sounds, machinery, and something else, voices, hundreds of voices. Zara's curiosity overpowered her fear. She slipped through the door and started down the stairs. Each step careful, quiet, the sounds grew louder, metal clanging, mechanical whirring, and underneath it all, crying, whimpering, moaning. She reached the bottom. What she saw would stay with her forever. A massive underground chamber, the size of 10 buildings, maybe more. And filling it, stretching as far as she could see, people. But not aliens, humans. Hundreds of them. Thousands, chained to workstations. Their skin was pale, malnourished. Bruises covered their arms. They wore rags. Their hands moved mechanically, assembling parts, sorting items, packing boxes. Guards walked among them, all aliens, all carrying weapons. Zara couldn't move. Her legs wouldn't work. One of the humans, a woman, looked up. Their eyes met. The woman's eyes were empty. Dead. She looked at Zara for a moment, then looked away, returning to her work. A voice crackled over speakers. Production quota, 87%. Increase speed or face reduction in rations. Some of the humans moved faster, others couldn't. They were too weak. Zara backed away slowly. Her foot hit something metal. Clang. The sound echoed. A guard's head snapped toward the stairs. Zara ran. Up the stairs, through the door, down the corridor. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it would break through her chest. Left, right, straight. She didn't know where she was going. Just away. Away from that place. Finally, she saw something familiar. The robot guide. Her family. There you are. Lyra grabbed her. Where were you? We were worried sick. Zara couldn't speak. She was shaking. Nico noticed immediately. What happened? Zara opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her eyes darted around, cameras everywhere, watching. Ezra knelt down, looking into Zara's eyes. The old woman saw something there. Terror. Did you see something? Ezra whispered. Zara gave the tiniest nod. Before anyone could ask more, Velkor's voice boomed through the corridor. Dear guests, please join me in the Grand Hall for a special announcement. The robot guide began herding them forward. Lyra kept her hand on Zara's shoulder, feeling how badly her daughter was trembling. They entered a magnificent dining hall, long tables filled with food. More food than Zara had ever seen in her life. Roasted meats, fruits, breads, desserts, drinks in crystal glasses. Please, sit, eat. Velkor stood at the head of the room, arms spread wide. Tonight, we celebrate. The families sat down uncertainly. Then hunger took over. They began eating. Some cried while they ate. It had been so long. But Zara didn't touch her plate. Ezra noticed. She reached under the table and squeezed Zara's hand. The old woman understood. Something was very, very wrong here. Velkor tapped his glass. The room fell silent. My friends, I hope you've enjoyed seeing our facility. Now, let's talk about your prize. Everyone leaned forward eagerly. $1 million, that's what you won, and I'm prepared to give it to you. Today, right now. Excited gasps. However, Velkor's smile stayed perfect. There is a small condition. The room got quieter. You see, this money doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from the work we do here, and I believe in earning, not handouts. So here's my offer. Work for me for 6 months, just 6 months, and at the end, you get your $1 million plus a salary for the work you've done. People looked at each other. 6 months? That wasn't bad. The work is easy. Packaging, assembly, quality control. Nothing difficult. You'll have comfortable housing, 3 meals a day, medical care, and after 6 months, you're millionaires. A man raised his hand. What kind of salary? $5,000 per month. So in 6 months, you'll have made 30,000 plus your million. That's over a million total. People were smiling now. This was incredible. Of course, Velcor continued, if you don't want to accept this offer, I understand. The tour is over. You can leave. We'll give you transportation back to the city. He paused. But you leave with nothing. No $1 million, no prize. You go back to exactly where you were. The room went silent. One woman stood up. I can't stay here for 6 months. My family will be taken care of, Belcor interrupted. We can arrange for money to be sent to them, regular payments. No, I'm sorry. This isn't what I expected. I want to go home. Belcor's smile didn't change. Of course. Anyone else? 3 more families stood up, about 12 people total. Very well. The rest of you, welcome to the Velcor family. Let's sign the contracts. The families who refused were escorted out of the hall by guards. The others began signing papers that robots brought around. Ezra grabbed Lyra's arm. Don't sign anything. What? Something's wrong. Your daughter saw something. Don't sign. Lyra looked at Zara's pale face, at Nico's worried eyes. She put down the pen. We'd like to leave, too. Velcor walked over personally. Are you sure? This is a life-changing opportunity. I'm sure. Very well. His smile never wavered. Guards, please escort this family out as well. They were led into a different corridor, not toward the entrance. Somewhere else. Where are we going? Lyra asked. To the departure area, the guard said, but the corridor kept going, deeper into the facility, away from where they'd entered. This doesn't seem right, Nico whispered. They reached a large room. The other families who'd refused were already there, but there was no exit, no vehicles waiting, just a locked door. Wait here, the guard said. Transportation is being arranged. He left. The door locked behind him. One of the men tried the handle. We're locked in. Panic started spreading. They lied to us. We're trapped. Ezra examined the room. Concrete walls, no windows, one door, locked. Cameras in the corners. She'd seen rooms like this before, long ago, in the war. This wasn't a waiting room. This was a holding cell. Outside, in the main hall, Velcor watched the remaining families sign their contracts. 40 people, all agreeing to 6 months of work. They didn't know, of course, there was no 6 months. There was no $1 million. There was only the basement. In a few days, once the contracts were signed and processed, they'd be moved down, integrated into the workforce. And by the time they realized the truth, it would be too late. As for those who refused, they were already being transported. Not back to the city, to a different facility. One much worse. Where troublemakers went, where people who asked too many questions disappeared forever. Velcor finished his wine and smiled. Another successful recruitment day. In the locked room, Zara huddled against her mother. Mom, she whispered, I saw something before in the basement. What did you see? People, human people, hundreds of them. They were slaves. Lyra's blood went cold. One of the other women heard this. What? What did she say? Nothing, Ezra said quickly. She's scared. She's confused, but it was too late. Others had heard. Slaves? Here? That's impossible. This is Velcor Industries. They're legitimate. Are they? Ezra's voice cut through the panic. Then why are we locked in? Everyone stopped talking. The truth settled over them like ice water. They weren't guests. They were prisoners. Hours passed. No one came. No food, no water, just silence and fear. Nico tried the door again, still locked. He examined the hinges, solid, the walls, concrete, the cameras, always watching. "There has to be a way out," he said. "There isn't," a man said hopelessly. "We're too far from the city. Even if we got out of this room, we're in the middle of nowhere. So we just give up? What choice do we have?" Ezra stood up. "We fight." "Fight? With what? Against guards with weapons?" "With our minds, our will. They think we're helpless. That's our advantage. That's insane." "Maybe," Ezra said, "but I've survived worse, and I won't die in a cage." Zara looked at her grandmother with new eyes. There was something different about her now, something hard, something that had been hidden for years under the softness of a grandmother, something that remembered how to be a soldier. The door opened. Everyone jumped. A guard entered carrying a tray of food. Behind him, another guard with a weapon. "Eat. You'll be moved in the morning." "Moved where?" Lyra demanded. The guard didn't answer. He set down the tray and turned to leave. That's when Ezra moved, fast, faster than anyone expected from an old woman. She grabbed the first guard's arm, twisted, and he went down. She had his weapon in 1 second. The second guard raised his gun. Ezra fired first. The shot echoed in the small room. The guard fell. Everyone stared in shock. Ezra stood there, holding the weapon like she'd been born with it in her hands. "Anyone else want to fight?" she asked. "Or do you want to survive?" One by one, they stood up. "Good," Ezra said. "Now listen carefully. We're going to get out of here, all of us, but we're not leaving alone." "What do you mean?" Lyra asked. Ezra looked at Zara. "Tell them what you saw." Zara took a deep breath, and she told them everything about the basement, about the humans, about the slaves. When she finished, the room was silent. Then one man spoke. "We have to free them." "That's suicide," someone said. "Maybe," Ezra replied, "but it's the right thing to do, and sometimes that's all that matters." She checked the weapons charge. "Besides, we can't escape on foot. We're too far from anywhere. We need vehicles, and the only way to get those is to cause enough chaos that we can steal one." "How do we cause chaos?" Nico asked. Ezra smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who'd been waiting years for this moment. "We start a revolution." Ezra held the weapon awkwardly. Her hands shook, not from fear, but from age. The arthritis she'd hidden for years made her fingers stiff. "Grandma, you're hurt," Zara said, noticing blood on Ezra's arm where the guard had scratched her. "I'm fine." But she wasn't. The adrenaline was fading. The old woman was just old again. Lyra took the weapon gently from her mother's hands. "Let me." Ezra wanted to argue, but her body betrayed her. She sat down heavily. "I'm sorry. I thought I could still—" "You did enough," Lyra said firmly. "You showed us we could fight back. Now it's our turn." The group gathered around, 12 adults, 5 children counting Zara and Nico. One man, his name was Torin, spoke up. "Even if we get out of this room, the facility is massive. Guards everywhere. We don't know the layout." "I do," Zara said quietly. "I got lost, remember?" "I saw a lot of it." Everyone turned to her. "Can you draw a map?" Nico asked. Zara nodded. Someone found a piece of paper in their pocket. She began sketching. The corridors, the stairway to the basement, the main hall, the entrance they'd come through. "The basement is here," she pointed. "That's where the humans are. Thousands of them." "And vehicles?" Torin asked. "I don't know. I didn't see a garage." "There has to be one," Lyra said. "They brought us here somehow. The transport vehicles have to be stored somewhere. Probably near the entrance," another woman suggested. They formed a plan. Simple, desperate, but it was all they had. First, get out of this room. Second, reach the basement and free the humans. With thousands of people, they'd have numbers on their side. Third, find vehicles and escape. It was a terrible plan, but it was the only plan. Lyra checked the weapons they'd taken from the guards. 2 guns, limited charge, against hundreds of guards. "We need more than this," she said. "Then we take more," Torin said. "Every guard we encounter, we take their weapons." Ezra spoke up weakly from where she sat. "The cameras. They're watching. The moment you open that door, they'll know." She was right. The red lights in the corners blinked steadily. "Can we break them?" Nico asked. "They'll still know something's wrong." "Then we don't have a choice," Lyra said. "We move fast, before they can respond." She positioned herself by the door. Torin took the other weapon. The rest armed themselves with anything they could: a metal tray, a broken chair leg. Lyra took a deep breath. "Ready?" No one was ready, but everyone nodded. She opened the door. The corridor was empty. For now, they moved out quickly, quietly. Zara led the way, remembering the path: left, right, straight. Behind them, alarm sirens suddenly wailed. "They know!" someone shouted. "Run!" The group broke into a sprint. Children were swept up and carried. They rounded a corner. 3 guards appeared ahead. Lyra fired. She'd never used a weapon before. The shot went wide, hitting the wall. The guards raised their guns. Torin fired. His shot connected. 1 guard fell. The other 2 advanced. Lyra fired again. This time she didn't miss. They grabbed the fallen guards' weapons. Now they had 4. "Keep moving!" Torin urged. They ran through the corridors, more alarms, red lights flashing. Behind them, the sound of boots, many boots running toward them. Zara recognized a corridor. "This way!" The stairs to the basement. They reached the heavy door. It was locked. "Break it down!" Lyra shouted. The men threw their weight against it, once, twice. The door shuddered but held. Behind them, guards appeared at the end of the corridor. "Contact!" Multiple hostiles, gunfire erupted. The group pressed against the walls. Lyra returned fire, trying to buy time. Torin and another man kept ramming the door. Finally, it burst open. "Go! Go!" They poured through the doorway and down the stairs. The guards followed. At the bottom, they emerged into the massive underground chamber. Thousands of human faces turned toward them. The guards supervising the humans looked confused. "What's happening?" "Revolution!" Ezra shouted from the back, her old voice surprisingly strong. "You're free! All of you, fight back!" For a moment, nothing happened. The humans just stared. They'd been prisoners so long, they'd forgotten what freedom meant. Then, one man stood up. He pulled the restraint off his wrist. It wasn't locked, just clipped. They could have removed them any time. They'd just never tried. Another stood, then another. Like a wave, thousands of humans rose to their feet. The guards in the basement panicked. "Sit down! All of you, sit down!" But the humans didn't sit. They walked forward, slowly at first, then faster. The guards fired warning shots, but there were only 20 guards and thousands of humans. The wave of bodies overwhelmed them. Suddenly, the chamber erupted into chaos, humans running in every direction, some heading for the stairs, others searching for exits. The machinery stopped. Production lines ground to a halt. Lyra grabbed Zara and Nico. "Stay close to me." They fought through the crowd, heading for the far side of the chamber. Zara remembered seeing another stairway there. Behind them, more guards poured down from above. They fired into the crowd, not warning shots anymore. People screamed, some fell, but the crowd didn't stop. For every person who fell, 10 more pushed forward. Years of rage, of suffering, of helplessness, it all exploded at once. This way. Torin found the second stairway. It led up to a different section of the facility. The group climbed. Around them, the sound of the riot echoed through the building. Breaking glass, shouting, gunfire. They emerged into a loading bay, and there, vehicles, dozens of them, transport trucks, cargo haulers, even a few private shuttles. There, Lyra pointed. They ran toward the nearest transport. The door was locked. Break the window! Torin used his weapon as a club. The glass shattered. He climbed in, searching for a way to start it. I don't know how to hotwire this thing. Let me, an older woman from their group pushed forward. I used to work at a repair shop. She dove under the dashboard. Sparks flew. The engine hummed to life. Everyone in! Now, they piled into the vehicle. 20 people cramming into space meant for 12. The loading bay doors were closed. Ram them! Someone shouted. The woman driver hesitated. This might not work. Do it! She pressed the accelerator. The transport lurched forward, building speed. They hit the doors at full velocity. Metal screamed. The doors buckled and burst open. They crashed through into the night air. Behind them, the Velcor facility was in chaos. Fires burned. Thousands of people swarmed out of every exit. Guards tried to contain them but were overwhelmed. Keep going, Lyra urged. Don't stop. The transport raced across the barren landscape. In the distance, the single road stretched toward civilization. Inside the vehicle, people were crying, laughing, in shock. Zara sat pressed against her mother, watching the facility shrink behind them. Nico asked the question everyone was thinking. What happens now? No one had an answer. They drove for 2 hours before they saw lights. A small settlement. The driver pulled into the town center and stopped. People emerged from the transport, dazed, injured, traumatized. Locals came out of their homes, confused. What happened to you? Velcor, Lyra said simply. Velcor Industries. Within an hour, police arrived, then media. The story spread like wildfire. Escaped prisoners from Velcor Industries, thousands still trapped, humans enslaved. By morning, it was galactic news. Authorities raided the facility. They found the thousands of humans who hadn't escaped yet. They found records, files, evidence of decades of kidnapping and slavery. Velcor himself was arrested trying to flee on a private ship. His empire collapsed in days. 3 weeks later, Zara, Nico, Lyra, and Ezra sat in a small government office. Officials had questions, lawyers wanted statements, reporters wanted interviews. But first, there was the matter of the lottery. You won, the official said awkwardly. Technically, legally, you won $1 million. We don't want it, Lyra said immediately. It's your legal right. We don't want blood money. The official nodded. I understand, but there's also the matter of compensation for what you endured. The government is prepared to offer. We want something else, Ezra interrupted. Her voice was weak. She'd been in the hospital for days after their escape. Her heart wasn't strong. The stress had nearly killed her. What do you want? The official asked. Those humans, the ones who were freed, what happens to them? We're processing them, finding their families if they have any, offering counseling, job placement. Most of them have no one, Ezra said. Nowhere to go, no skills for the modern world. They've been slaves for years, some for decades. We're doing our best. Give them the money, Ezra said. Everyone stared at her. What? The official blinked. The $1 million, divided among the freed humans, help them start new lives. Lyra started to protest, then stopped. She looked at her mother, at her children. She's right, Lyra said quietly. The official was speechless. That's incredibly generous, but are you sure? You're still poor. You still need, we'll manage, Lyra said. We always have. 6 months later, life returned to normal, or as normal as it could be. They lived in the same small apartment, worked the same difficult jobs. Money was still tight, but they were free. Ezra's health had worsened. She spent most days in bed now. The doctor said her heart was giving out. Too much stress, too much strain. One evening, Zara sat beside her grandmother's bed. Grandma? Yes, sweetheart. Do you regret it? Giving away the money, Ezra smiled. Not for a second, but we're still poor. Poor in money. Rich in other ways. She took Zara's hand. Listen to me. What we did, that matters. Those people are free because we fought back. That's worth more than any amount of money. Will you get better? Ezra's smile turned sad. No, baby. I'm old and tired. My body's worn out. I don't want you to go. I know, but when I do, I want you to remember something. You're stronger than you think, all of you. You survived something terrible. You fought back. You won. Tears streamed down Zara's face. I'm scared. Of what? Of everything. Of being poor forever. Of things never getting better. Ezra pulled her granddaughter close. Things will get better. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But they will. Because you'll make them better. You and your brother. You're not helpless children anymore. You're survivors. Fighters. I'm only 6. You're only 6, and you've already changed the world. Ezra passed away 2 weeks later, peacefully in her sleep. The funeral was small. They couldn't afford much, but dozens of people came. Freed humans who'd heard the story, who wanted to pay respects to the family that had given up everything for them. One woman approached Lyra afterward. Your mother was a hero. She was just a grandmother, Lyra said, crying. No, the woman said firmly. She was more. And so are you. What your family did, giving away that money, fighting for us, you could have just run, just saved yourselves. But you didn't. She pressed something into Lyra's hand, an envelope. What's this? Many of us got jobs now, started earning. We wanted to give something back. It's not much, but it's honest money, earned money. Inside was $5,000. Lyra tried to give it back. I can't. You can. You will. We all pitched in. Consider it a thank you from people who never thought they'd be free. 1 year later, life had improved. Slowly. Lyra got a better job. The money from the freed humans helped them move to a slightly bigger apartment. Nico and Zara went to school. But at night, Zara still had dreams about the basement, about the empty eyes, about people trapped in darkness. One evening, there was a knock at the door. Lyra opened it to find a young man standing there. Human. He looked nervous. Can I help you? Are you Lyra? The family that helped free us? Yes. The man's eyes filled with tears. I was there. In the basement. For 3 years. I thought I'd die there. But you, your family. He couldn't finish. Lyra invited him in. They talked for hours. He told them about his life before Velcor, how he'd been kidnapped from a slum where no one noticed, how he'd lost hope. But now, he said, I'm studying. I got into university, engineering. I'm going to build things, good things. As he left, he turned back. There are others like me. Dozens, maybe hundreds, all of us trying to rebuild our lives. And we all know who to thank. After he left, Zara sat quietly. What are you thinking about? Lyra asked. Velcor. What about him? He's in prison, but there were 47 facilities. They only shut down one. What about the others? Lyra's expression darkened. She'd thought about this too. The news had reported some closures, but not all. Some companies had simply hidden their operations better. What can we do? Lyra said helplessly. We're just one family. Zara looked at her mother. Grandma said we're fighters. She said we could change the world. Zara, I'm not saying we go to other planets or break into more factories. I'm just saying maybe we don't forget. Maybe we keep telling the story. Maybe we make sure people know what happened, so it can't happen again. Lyra looked at her daughter, 6 years old when this started, 7 now, and saw something remarkable. Not a child anymore, a survivor, a witness, someone who would carry this story forward. Okay, Lyra said, we'll tell the story. We'll make sure no one forgets. Years passed. Zara grew up. So did Nico. They never forgot what they'd seen, what they'd survived. Nico became a lawyer, specializing in labor rights, fighting for workers across the galaxy. Zara became a journalist. She investigated corporations, exposed corruption, found the hidden factories that still existed, and brought them into the light. Their mother stayed with them, proud, watching her children turn pain into purpose. And in every article Zara wrote, in every case Nico fought, they carried forward their grandmother's legacy. The old woman who'd shown them that sometimes ordinary people do extraordinary things, not because they're heroes, but because they choose to fight back when everyone else chooses to look away. The Velcor scandal changed laws across the galaxy. Regulations tightened, inspections increased, penalties for labor violations became severe. It didn't end slavery. Evil is never completely defeated, but it got harder, more expensive, more dangerous for those who profited from suffering. And that was something. That was enough. 20 years after that terrible day, Zara gave a speech at a memorial for the victims of Velcor Industries. Thousands attended, freed slaves and their families, activists, politicians, media. She stood at the podium and told the story, all of it, the lottery, the factory, the basement, the escape, her grandmother's sacrifice. And she ended with these words. My grandmother used to say there's no such thing as free bread. She was right. Everything costs something. The question is, who pays the price? For too long, the most vulnerable paid while the powerful profited. But when ordinary people decide enough is enough, when they risk everything to stand up for what's right, that's when change happens. We weren't heroes. We were just a poor family trying to survive, but we made a choice. And that choice rippled outward, creating waves that are still felt today. So I ask you, what choice will you make? When you see injustice, will you look away? Or will you fight back? Because the world doesn't change by itself. It changes when ordinary people do extraordinary things. In memory of my grandmother, in honor of all those who suffered, and in hope for a future where no one is invisible, where no one is forgotten, where no one pays the hidden price of someone else's greed. Thank you. The crowd rose in a standing ovation that lasted 5 minutes. After the ceremony, a young woman approached Zara. Human, maybe 19 years old. Miss Zara? Yes? I just wanted to say, I was one of the children freed that day. I was 5. I barely remember it. But my mother told me the story, told me about your family. She smiled, tears in her eyes. I'm starting university next month, medical school. I'm going to be a doctor, help people. Zara hugged her. Your mother must be so proud. She is. And she wanted me to tell you something. She said, tell them the bread wasn't free. It cost everything, but it was worth it. Zara watched the young woman walk away, joining her mother in the crowd, and for the first time in years, she felt her grandmother's presence, not as a memory, as something more, a reminder that even in the darkest places, light can be found, not given, not bought, but fought for, earned, by ordinary people who refuse to stay quiet, by families who choose love over fear, by grandmothers who remember how to fight, and by children who grow up to change the world.